I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good evening. This is the Community Preservation Committee. I'm going to go ahead and read the remote participation text. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number of 840-0877-2826 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting during business hours. So as I call the meeting to order, thank you very much for everybody being here. It's nice to see all hands on deck as well as new faces. So I'm going to ask whether or not any changes to the agenda, any amendments, whatever, or do you want to prove it?
Janet, since we're Zoom, shouldn't you just announce who's here from our committee?
Okay, I can do that.
I don't know if that's necessary, but
no,
yeah.
I mean, I can. I don't know. I haven't done that before.
Never mind, because actually when we vote for the agenda, we'll be fine.
That's right. We'll get everybody in.
Yeah.
So, okay, does the agenda look good? Can I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
I'll make a second.
Okay, Barry Barry makes the motion. Colleen seconds. All right, we're going to do a roll call. I'm not going to ask Barry right now because he's taking a sip. All right, Barry?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Aye.
Jason, you moved. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay, and then Julie?
Yes.
Aye, and the chair says aye. All right, so the agenda has been approved. And approval of the minutes that our industrious clerk does a great job. I did not see any type of changes. I think it was very well written as usual. Anybody have any comments, corrections, or anything?
Perfect as usual.
Oh, you got it. All right. So with that, can I have a motion, please? Everybody's waiting now.
I'll move to approve the minutes that I gloriously wrote as written.
All right, Jess makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, Colleen seconds. Let's go the roll call. Barry?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Aye.
Jason?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Okay, and the chair says aye. Excellent. Okay, moving right along. The only thing I have for correspondence is I was speaking with Alicia Hersey from the Department of Community and Economic Development in town, and she's looking for CPC to send a letter of support for their 2024 HUD Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG grant program. And I told her that I believe that the committee would approve it to go ahead and send. It's like a form letter stating to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, which that must be the new DHCD, and to give them our support. Does anybody have any concerns or anything about that? I mean,
Go for it.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and can I hear a motion to approve? I think I need to do that, seeing that it's gonna be voted on.
So
Make a
moved.
motion to approve the letter of recommendation to the housing for the CDBG grant.
Okay, I've got Barry and Beth. Um,
Second, yes,
You
thanks.
got it. And then let's go, roll call. Barry,
Aye.
Jess,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Colleen,
Aye.
Jason,
Yes.
and Julie.
Yes.
All right, and chair says aye. So I'll go ahead and I'll develop that and send it on and CC everybody as well as Alicia. All right. Okay, that being done, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing. I'd like to go ahead now and be able to open up our public hearing, and Jess can go ahead and keep me in line of what I need to do. With that, I'm going to go ahead and read the notices that were placed in the Neshoba Valley Voice. It's the legal notice of the Town of Ayer Community Preservation Committee, a notice of public hearing regarding the Habitat for Humanity funding. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B, Community Preservation. The Ayer Community Preservation Committee will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. The purpose of this meeting will be to review the funding application from the Habitat for Humanity North Central Massachusetts, Inc. for CPA funds to help support the creation of affordable housing units at 12 Newton Street in Ayer. All residents, members of the general public, and any persons interested or wishing to be heard may call 978-772-8220, extension 100 during business hours prior to the meeting for the Zoom meeting information. Signed, Community Preservation Committee, Janet Providakis, Chair. And again, it was in the Neshoba Valley Voice for the two Fridays. So with that, I'm going to open it up. And who is here from Habitat for Humanity?
I am Carolyn Reed, Executive Director.
All right, Carolyn, thank you. I'm trying to go look through all the screen. Thank you so much for being here. We've already, heard from the application, from last meeting and such. This here is more of like the public hearing, so that if there's anybody from the public who has additional questions, or if the committee members, after they've reviewed it even further, have anything else. Why don't you just give us a little background of what occurred and how lucky you guys were, and how are you going to move forward?
Okay. So we were very lucky. Main Street Bank gifted us the land. They sold it to us for $1. We closed on it at the end of the year, December 29th. Since then, we've been working with Re-Architect to come up with draft plans. Our plan right now is to build a duplex, townhouse style. Each side will have 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms. There will be mostly family units. Right now, we have the driveway coming up the left side. There'll be parking in the back and a play area in the back, or a lawn area in the back as well. Our plan is to file a LIP LAU application to make sure that the 2 homes could be on the subsidized housing inventory for Ayer. We'll follow an EOHLC approved marketing plan for those homes, for marketing the homes. And we plan to market them to local residents earning 30 to 60% of area median income. We plan to build it solar ready and hope to have solar on the house, and it will be an all electric house and meet the stretch energy code.
Excellent. All right.
And the pertinent data would be that the application is seeking $150,000 in CPC funding.
Correct. And you believe your total sources are going to be around 400,000, is it, Carolyn?
Correct. Yes. And that assumes that we will be able to partner with Neshoba Valley Tech. I have contacted them, and they have said that they're very interested in partnering with us. And that's how we can keep the cost so low, as well as using volunteer labor to help us build.
Mm-hmm. And to give people, who are going to be watching this a little more information, the individuals that will be purchasing these houses, they have a mortgage. All right. But it's one good thing about it is discounted, correct?
Right, so it'll be a 0%, we don't charge interest, a 0% mortgage structured for their income. So their principal payment, insurance, and taxes will always be less than 30% of their gross income. So we structure it to make sure that they can be successful as homeowners. And this is a first-time home buyer program. So that is one of the criteria.
All right, that is great. And then they also too have got to volunteer for Habitat and assist in other places that are going to get built and such.
Exactly. So a single parent family, if selected, puts in 200 hours helping to build the house, and a 2-parent family would put in 350 hours helping to build the house.
Okay, what a win-win situation all the way around.
I know. Yeah.
I like it. It's like, oh, all right. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out to the members of the committee. Any questions, concerns that you may have?
Nope, it's a
No,
great
we
project.
have. Mhm. Go ahead, Jess.
No, that was it. I just wanted to say it's a great project.
Am I allowed to make a comment now, Janet?
In a second, okay. Hold on. Are you with Habitat or are you just public?
No, my wife and I live here at Douglas Drive in Ayer, and have lived in this town for about 20 years now.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just get Beth for being one of the committee members, and then I'll open it up to the public. Okay, so hold on a sec. Beth?
Yeah, a fantastic project. So happy that we'll be able to bring another Habitat house to or duplex to Air. Just for the benefit of the public and people who may not have seen the last meeting, can we show some of the plans and the images? I think it would be just appropriate for the public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can go ahead and let me see if I can pull it up while, go ahead. Is it, I'm sorry, your name, please, sir?
Is Kurt and Jane Logie, 11 Douglas Drive here in town. We just want to add our voices of support, strong support for this. Through our church, we've been involved with Habitat for about 20 years, involved in various builds in towns surrounding Ayer. And we were in fact involved with the last duplex that was built several years ago here, and are very strong supporters of Habitat for Humanity. It really offers folks a first opportunity to get into a home and a fresh start for them. We've seen firsthand exactly the results of the program and how much it affects families, especially young kids who now have a safe and secure home. So we just want to rise in support and give a total endorsement for this project here in Ayer.
Right, that's great. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on. Cindy, can I share my screen? Please?
I just turned that on for you.
Okay, thank you.
Janet, I also do have an updated rendering if you want me to show that, or you can go ahead and show.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
up to you.
I was gonna say, when you say the rendering, you've got the picture of what the duplex is gonna look like?
An early rendering of it, yeah. So we still have,
Okay, so it's not the same one from the application that you filed?
so the interior is very similar to that because it's a duplex we've built before and it's a floor plan that works really well. But the exterior is a little different because of form-based code. We need to have more windows than we did in
Okay,
Pittsburgh.
I think that would be good. And if you can make sure that you get me that updated version as well, so I can put it out there. Cindy, can you give Carolyn the okay to share her screen, please? Pauline, we'll get to you in just a second. Let me see if we can go ahead and,
Janet, no worries. I'll be here for the duration, okay?
all right, sounds great. Your avid supporter, Carolyn, in Air. Tell me,
And you, Janet.
all right, let's see, did Cindy give you the okay?
Not yet.
Oh, it is all set. I'm sorry.
It's still saying that host disabled.
Let me just turn that off and back on then.
Okay, Carolyn, you're all set.
Thank you. Can everybody see that?
Oh, that's impressive. You are right about being a lot more windows.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that looks awesome, awesome, awesome. I just have to throw that out there. Sorry.
Well, and I have to do a shout out for Re-Architect because they worked very quickly to get us this rendering and to get us some updated plans. And to talk to Charlie about the codes and everything that we would have to follow. So this is, as I said, a rendering. So it's not the exact thing what it'll look like, but it's where we are right now. And so from before, you had said you'd like it to in some ways match the one next door. So we tried to do that with the front entrance. We have the driveway going up the left side, as I said, parking will be in the back, and then we'll have a lawn area behind that. So the two sides would be mirror images. Right now, the plan is to have a basement as long as we're able to do that cost effectively. In the basement, we'll have the water heater and the washer and dryer. And we do have versions of the plan where the washer and dryer could be near the bedrooms and the water heater on the first floor if we do need to do a crawl space or a slab instead. So the only, with this design, so it does have the 60% glazing that's required for form-based code. The only thing that we need to still model is being able to meet the stretch energy code with that number of windows.
Excellent. Charlie must be happy.
Looks great. Thank you very much for working with the architect to provide that, and certainly for the all electric and solar readiness and everything that you're planning. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure the family that'll have the opportunity to live there will as well.
Yeah, it keeps for them, for the homeowner, it will keep their energy costs very low, and that's part of our goal.
Yeah, everything that helps. All right, that's great. Okay, I really do appreciate all this feedback, and thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Lodgy, to for your support as well. Pauline, go ahead.
Thank you, Janet. As everybody on this feed knows, I have been an advocate for Habitat for many, many years. And this is a beautiful design, and I am seeing it for the first time, as are you. My concern, Janet, as we spoke this morning, is that the housing component for the CP, Community Preservation Fund, is currently in the negative. I do understand that there are some potential warrant articles for April to rescind not borrowing, but allocation for the former fire station of $150,000, which will cover what Habitat is requesting. And I just want to bring that out because I think it's important that the residents and voters understand that. I don't know how we ended up in the negative, and I didn't want to bother you with going into that detail this morning. But at least the 150 return to housing from the central fire station will cover Habitat's request.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We'll still leave a negative balance in the housing bucket, as we call it. But I would encourage and hope that the committee will approve this and move it forward to town meeting.
Yeah, we do have on the agenda is to look at the upcoming warrant articles, and some of the articles will be to discuss rebalancing to make sure that we do have funds within the community housing. But you are correct that one of the articles is to place the 150 back into community housing. So we would definitely be all set, and then we could always take monies out of the undesignated fund balance and move it into another category.
And we will talk about that on the next public hearing.
And what will end up happening too is, again, it just needs a separate warrant article. So
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to at least bring that out, because
Okay.
I think it's important people know. And Carolyn, I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
All right.
Pauline. And thanks for all your work supporting the Habitat families.
Right, we got it, and it's like, oh. All right, anybody else from the public with any questions or concerns? I am hearing crickets. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and ask the committee, can I get a motion to move this project to town meeting for approval? Again, this is one thing about the CPA funds, is that it still takes the town to approve it. So can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move this project for $150,000 to Habitat for Humanity to Springtown meeting on April 22nd with the CPC support.
All right, Jess made the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Colleen seconded. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and go through our roll call, and people have moved. So Jess,
Aye.
Barry,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Colleen,
Aye.
Jason,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
and the chair says aye. So Carolyn, it will be at town meeting, and we will be looking for the 150,000 for you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And as I said before, we're so excited to be working in Ayer again.
All right, you got it.
And on behalf of my wife and I, thank you very much for this. We really appreciate it.
All right, and thank you very much as well. We do appreciate you being here. It's awesome. All right, well, this is great. Since that there's nothing else, on this open the a public hearing, I'm gonna make a motion, or can I get a motion to close this public hearing and move on?
So moved.
Okay, Jess makes the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All
Beth
right.
gets it.
All right, Beth seconds. All right, do I have to do roll call, Jess?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, Barry,
Aye.
Jess,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Colleen,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. So the public hearing for the Habitat for Humanity funding request is now closed. Deep breath. Moving on to the second. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. All right, the next one is the acquisition of 71 Sandy Pond Road funding request. I'm going to open up the hearing by reading the hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B, Community Preservation. The Ayer Community Preservation Committee will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. The purpose of this meeting will be to review the funding application from the town of Ayer for CPA funds to help fund the acquisition of 71 Sandy Pond Road in Ayer for open space and recreational purposes. All residents, members of the general public, and any persons interested or wishing to be heard may call 978-772-8220, extension 100, during business hours prior to the meeting for Zoom meeting information. Signed, Jana Providakis, Chair of Community Preservation Committee. So this public hearing is now open, and presenting for the town will be our one and only Robert Pombrand, the town manager.
Madam Chair, members of the CPC, good evening. Robert Pombrand, Ayer Town Manager, joined by Dan Van Schalwick, the Ayer DPW Director. And we are here on behalf of the application from the Select Board for the acquisition of 71 Sandy Pond Road, seeking $350,000 in CPC funding to come from open space and recreation categories. The total application was transmitted to the chair on March 1st. It includes the application for funding for the $350,000. Just for the record, the total cost of acquisition, as mentioned, is $700,000. $350,000 would come from town funds, with 350,000 coming from CPC. In addition to the application, in the packet we submitted, you have all of the materials from the February 6th meeting we had with you for the application for determination of eligibility. That includes the property card for 71 Sandy Pond, a cost analysis for 71 Sandy Pond by the building commissioner, the purchase and sales agreement for Sandy Pond Road, and the presentation of conceptual plans. We also included page 82 of the Town of Ayer's Open Space and Recreation Plan that specifically speaks to the this area as far as improved access. The application is also consistent with the goals of both the town's current master plan and the open space and recreation plan. Finally, there were letters of project support from the Air Select Board, the Parks Commission, the Air DPW Director, the Air Town Planner, and the Air Director of Community and Economic Development. And Madam Chair, I don't know, in the interest of time, how you want to proceed. I know that we covered a lot of the material on February 6th, I guess, just to give
February 7th, just to be clear.
February 7th, I stand corrected. Thank you. Just to recap, just briefly overview, 71 Sandy Pond Road is a approximately 2.8 acre site located across from the town beach in waterfront. The town was approached by the private owner and developer with an offer asking if the town would be interested in purchasing the property. A series of negotiations were undertaken by the select board, which felt, as many do, that this was a unique opportunity that should be put before the town, in that if there's an opportunity for the town to acquire these 2.8 acres for open space recreation purposes. And as I said on the 7th, and has been said before, there is no definitive plan for this land yet, except for it to be used for open space and recreation parks purposes. But until the town actually owns the land, it can't, start the process, which would be a public process, as to further developing opportunities that exist there. And you'll recall on February 7th, and it's in the packet, we just put some potential conceptual renderings, which I thank the DPW director for putting together. But I think the DPW director said it best on the 7th, to think of it as a blank canvas of opportunities.
Robert, would you want me to? I'm going to go ahead and show that.
Sure.
Okay, so
Yep.
all right, hopefully people can start seeing where the 71 Sandy Pond Road is.
Yeah, so you can see, thank you, Janet, for putting it up. It is directly sort of across from the beach. This is an older photo, as some of you may have noticed, that the house has already been demolished. So let me just speak to that just real quick for the public. So the private owner plans to develop the property. He plans to build 2 houses there. Originally, it was going to be two family duplexes. He's looking to build 2 family houses. Approach the town. This opportunity for the town to potentially purchase this. Contingencies in the purchase and sale agreement. So as everybody knows, the purchase and sale agreement requires authorization by town meeting on April 22nd. One of the terms is that the property will be completely clean, the house and all structures removed, and you probably noticed that the house has already been demolished, and that that part of the property would be brought to grade on the street, so it'd be completely clear. Additionally, as the contingent with all land acquisition is subject to the clean environmental, that analysis, that environmental process is started from the DPW director and will be completed in advance of town meeting. We are optimistic that it will get a clean bill of health, for lack of a better word. There's another picture of what it looked like this past summer. And then if we go down, thank you, Janet, very quickly. Again, closer, the existing house is now gone, as is a lot of the material. And then this was from when the developer was before the ZBA, he was looking to do 2 duplexes. That special permit was not approved, and that appeal period has passed. If the town meeting does not authorize the purchase, he's going to proceed with building 2 houses, we understand, there. And then these next these next renderings are just that, they're just conceptual. This one shows some parking in green space. And then conceptual plan 2 shows some parking, and then you can see like a changing area and some park structures, a picnic area. And this is just very basic, just to get people thinking. Like I said, there's no definitive, plan. This one shows like a pavilion area, and open space area. And then here, again, just some general concepts. Again, if the town is to own it, we would move forward with appropriate, public process with all stakeholders as to the best use. And we're focusing on this piece of the land. As you saw on the original map, there's a long sort of stretch of the parcel that comes down on that. So
I'm trying to get back to that.
through you, Madam Chair, I don't know the DPW director if Dan wants to add anything from a DPW perspective.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I was going to ask, I know that Dan does have a plan, that corner, that curve, is going to have some work done. So Dan, do you want to discuss that on how the perfect timing?
Yeah, sure, Madam Chair. Yeah. So one thing to kind of for the town to consider as it's looking at potentially acquiring this parcel is right now the DPW has a $500,000 grant to put in to install a complete street on Sandy Pond Road. And it includes the intersection of Snake Hill Road east to Patriot Way. It's kind of phase 1. What we want to do is ultimately get all the way to Westford Road. So it will include narrower travel lanes, bike lanes, and a sidewalk. And what it also includes in the intersection area is kind of making the intersection Snake Hill and Sandy Pond Road kind of more of a 90-degree angle in all corners. There's that one sweeping curve on the northeast corner right along the beach there. So what that'll do, it'll open up some more green space, right in that area for the beach, but also create a shorter crossing of the roadway. So the design that we have includes, I mentioned narrower travel lanes, also includes curb extensions, or also known as bump outs, to shorten the crossing area of the road there. And that includes rectangular rapid flashing beacons, they're called. They're like the flashing crosswalk signs you see on East Main Street. And kind of another part of that project too is the speed limit in this area will be designated 20 miles per hour due to the sensitivity of the beach area. We're allowed to do that. So it's going to be, we're looking to improve safety and mobility out there with different functions. So that project is moving forward, hoping to construct it this construction season. We're just waiting to hear what we have a second grant. We're looking to get a little more money for it to move forward, but we still can move forward with it even if we don't get the second grant. So it'll probably happen 2024 construction season. And it obviously ties into this parcel that's being looked at for potential acquisition. And so that's kind of from a DPW that should be considered as we're looking at this, as a town is looking at this. And I think Robert hit the other items I had. The environmental assessment that's underway will be done before town meeting. And the master plan OSRP, the need for additional outdoor spaces, acquiring this parcel would likely help support, open things up at the beach. potentially also on this site. You could potentially have outdoor space, potentially public boat access is in the master plan OSRP. Maybe that's something that in the planning in the future could be part of it. And also parking's always been an issue here. So
Mhm.
those are kind of the items I had noted
When
down.
when you speak about parking, I know that, they've got, whatever you want to call it, parking over here on Sandy Hill, on Snake Hill.
Snake Hill,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
on Snake Hill, where it's difficult to get in and out. Will those be reused, for the beach area? Like, are they still going to be there? Probably should just ask.
Yeah, they're still going to be there. There's, like Robert said, it's kind of a blank canvas right now. So there would have to be an overall plan put into place to make major changes of the beach property itself. The Public Works project really won't make any changes to that parking there or the existing parking lot up by the basketball court. I know there are people who park on the other side of the road.
Mhm.
I guess the south side of Sandy Pond Road in this picture across from 71. Not Snake Hill, Sandy Pond. Um, no, it's kind of across from the beach site.
Okay,
No, across the road. Down, yep, there. So
okay.
there is parking in there. We can actually fit on-street parking as part of our project, and we've incorporated that into our design, some formal, legitimate on-street parking rather than people just kind of winging it off to the edge of the road there. So we're
Yeah.
actually going to add some parking as part of our project there.
Yeah, if you do those bump outs, just like you have on West Main, you'll be able to have parking spots there too, right?
Right, so yeah, there'll be the bump outs, and then after those bump outs, you'd have the parking spaces, and you'll have your tighter travel lanes and bike lanes. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right, and I'm just going to bring Jason to the conversation here. The Parks and Rec is looking at enhancing that bathhouse, correct? I mean, this is in the future.
We did this the study this year or last year. The commission wasn't going to ask for any funding for that for this coming town meeting, but probably next town meeting. Next year, they would probably look to do that. And I think I can't speak to what's going to happen in the future. I'm not going to be on the commission. I have no idea what the new commission is going to be, but the best option is the refurbishing of the existing building. So that's going to be a lot cheaper than like trying to build a whole new building or do something modular.
Do you
So
think
that's
they might
probably what
come
it's gonna
to,
be.
do you think they might be coming to a fall town meeting?
Maybe,
Okay,
could be.
okay.
I mean, if it gets included in this project, I don't know. And the other thing I could say about the park commission in terms of like the parking for the beach, I suggested, and I hope they continue to do this when we get to the beach season this year, is do a study of how many people are parking. Like, what's the current parking situation? If we have a summer like last year where it just rained all summer every weekend, I don't know if it's going to be valuable. But if we have a nice summer and it's sunny, then you could kind of get a sense of how big of a parking lot we might need there. And in the parking is, it's not as much as it used to be years ago once we made it resident only, but it's still on hot sunny days. There's not enough. So
All right, that's good to know.
we'll see how that goes.
Just to underscore, I think Beth, made the point the last meeting to also incorporate figuring out what the carrying capacity of the beach itself is for the number of visitors to not just do unlimited parking that might overburden the beach. Wasn't that right, Beth?
Yeah, I don't know that it's so much the capacity of the space of the beach. It's about the guards. How many people can be in the water with the guards, and so that's more of the determination, the determining factor of the capacity is what's safe for the guards to be there. So I can find that out.
That sounds
I
good.
don't know offhand.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure. All right, and then just one more question too, Robert. With regards to the space that's down here, this will all This is wetland, correct? Where this will all stay green.
Yeah, yeah, at this point, that piece is wet. I'm not a wetlands expert, but it is wet. And that would be staying as a open space component.
Okay.
If I could just, Madam Chair, just three concluding points on the application.
All right, do you want me to move to some parts of the
No,
application?
I just had 3
Okay.
points I just wanted to.
Go ahead.
And then so lastly, in the application, as some have asked, so if town meeting is to authorize the acquisition of this, become municipal property, that the town will assume the maintenance and operating costs of the property. So obviously, I just want to point out, for the purchase and sale, if town meeting was to vote in the affirmative, the property would close and transfer within 60 days of April 22nd, 60 days of the town meeting, at which point the town would be responsible for the property in terms of, maintenance and so forth moving forward. Of course, as the town moves forward to however it decides to further develop this, again, the town will be the future custodian of this property. So I just want to point that out, as I know maintenance is a concern of projects moving forward. The second thing is, we're asking for your support to put this before town meeting as an opportunity for the people of the town to decide. Everybody understands that at $700,000, that is a considerable sum. It initially started just south of $1 million, and we got to the point where we are at 700,000. And the private developer's position is, I'm going to either move forward with developing 2 residential units, or if the town would like, to buy it. I mean, his price was originally higher than what it was. It got to a level at 700,000, and some of the other contingencies, that the feeling was, well, this opportunity should be put before the town, because one of the challenges we're finding is in the acquiring of land by the municipality, that it would be great if the land, not all of the opportunities are always, that's what you're paying for to some extent, is the 700,000. We know, for public record, if you look at what it is assessed at, that's in the property card, much lower. We know that the current owner paid $320,000 for this at a public auction. So again, there is understanding, which will also be presented to town meeting. This is the opportunity. It is 700,000. This is what we would get, and there are all kinds of possibilities moving forward. If town meeting feels that that is not what they want to do and it doesn't pass, then he will proceed with building the 2 houses there, and we move forward. So I just want to, again, stress the point that nobody is trying to, we're leaving it up to town meeting to make the decision as far as the cost, but we do appreciate the CPC's consideration and support to make this possible. And so with that, Madam Chair, I'll stop unless there's questions for me. I appreciate the time.
No, appreciate you, Dan, and Jason's feedback on the projects within that little curve and such. I don't have any other additional questions. You've covered the ones that I had. Anybody else on the committee have any other concerns, questions?
Nope.
Nope.
Just a couple of just clarifying questions. I think it's, we've had such a hard time and had very few opportunities to acquire property in Ayer. And this one certainly would, meet valuable goals of providing, safety and parking and complement the Sandy Pond Beach. But just in terms of the process of getting to this point and considering the asking price or the agreed to price, just one point, wanting to make sure that it's been determined that this is consistent with state statute and local bylaws and policy. That the select board feels that they have done all that they can to appropriately negotiate the best value and deal for the town. And finally, whether or not, they feel there's any opportunity to subdivide the parcel to reduce the price, or, just considering, the space that is needed and, other possible uses. And if it is going to be all open space and recreation, then that limits the opportunity for any other use in the future. So just kind of clarifying that all due diligence, I guess, has been performed.
Madam Chair, do you want me to answer that? Thank you, Beth. And I know we met and talked about this at length. So a few things. So one is what the original owner was looking for was about around 900,000. And through a series of negotiations, it got to the 700,000 with the house being torn down and all of that, site work. And the private owner, that was at that point, that was sort of his best and final. And he understands that it has to go to town meeting. He understands that if town meeting says no, then that ends that, and he's going to move forward with developing the property, hence why he's already torn down the house and so forth. Under Mass General Law, and on the issue of appraisal, an appraisal would be required by a city, but it is not by a town if you look at the statute. The decision, this was discussed, the reason an appraisal wasn't done is because we knew what the price, it got to 700,000. We know that an appraisal, if it's appraised, would show it to be less than 700,000. But at that point, as far as a negotiating tool, that was the best and final. And the feeling was to put it to town meeting. As far as other due diligence, as mentioned in advance, and we'll transmit this to this committee, and it'll be part of the presentation at town meeting. We have to have a clean environmental on it, and Dan's leading that right now with a consultant. We'll have that done. Obviously, if there are environmental issues, that will be a wrinkle in this, of course. That's part of the process. Additionally, as part of it, town council will do, a title search and all of that, due diligence in that sense. So the feeling is that it is an opportunity for the town to consider. Of course, we wish it would be or could be lower. On the issue of the subdividing and so forth, I think that is something, the town, when it owns it, could consider, but the owner has no interest in doing that. That's what you have before you is where we're at.
Thank you. Has there been a recent survey that was performed, and as part of their proposal, have they recently delineated the wetlands? Just wondering if we have like that kind of information up to date.
Can I just say on the wetlands, this project submitted to the Conservation Commission for an order of conditions when they were considering building the duplexes. So that area of the property was delineated, and further down that long neck, I don't think they did that because there's no plans to do anything in that vicinity.
Right, thank you.
So your question's been answered, Beth? Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else on the committee have any concerns, questions, comments? Okay, I'm gonna just open it up to the public. I've got Pauline's hand up and Ken. So I'm going to go ahead and Pauline, you had your hands up right at the beginning. So I'm calling you and then Ken.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair and Ken. I hope I don't steal any thunder. I actually have two questions. I hope only two. As I listened to Dan and Dan DPW, I'm sorry, I can never pronounce your last name. About the parking, there are plans for the Sandy Pond Road redevelopment, sidewalks, and all of that that has been in existence for a couple of months. If we acquire 71 Sandy Pond Road, will that change the on-street parking that you have anticipated for Sandy Pond Road in itself?
Excuse me. No, not right now. Our design includes that parking. We don't know what's going to happen with this parcel, so we would keep that for now. If I don't think I can't predict the future, but if some, and there wouldn't be planning done in time probably before we construct it, so we would still have that parking in place.
Thank you for that. And of course, nobody can predict the future, but I would hope that the parking that might be available at 71 Sandy Pond would ameliorate the need for the on-street parking. So I'll just leave that at that. And the other point, Janet, I wanted to make, we discussed very early this morning. I really still want to advocate that all funds be available from CPC. I know that the applicant, the town, has only asked for 350. I did a little research. I have to switch from device to device to be able to share what I want to share, and bear with me because I had to make it a photo in order to share it. And I can't share anything, but I want to at least read from it. The undesignated fund balance for the committee is currently $717,000. The budgetary reserve is $1,114,000. So we're talking almost $200,000 in undesignated funds. And so after we spoke this morning, I went online, and we can fund this entire project from our current CPC fund without touching open space, housing, or any of the other designated funds. If we do what, and Robert, I'm sorry to use what I think you use, housekeeping warrant articles, so that the entire purchase of 71 Sandy Pond Road can be funded from community preservation funds without impacting open space or any of the other quote unquote bucket line items. And as we heard earlier tonight, the housing bucket is in the negative, and the housing bucket has approved $150,000 for a couple of new affordable housing units, which will match us to the town of Acton. So please, as a citizen, this is what the Community Preservation Fund is all about. Let's find a way to fund the purchase of this property that a longtime resident of Ayer is willing to sell to the town, so that we can have more open space availability. We haven't purchased open space in, Janet, I couldn't find the year, but I think it's been at least 10 since the Tooker property.
Yep, 2011, I think that was.
Close. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Jess. But you know what? This is the time to do this. I was not a supporter of this when I first heard about it, But I want to give credence and credit to my good friend Charlie Schultz, who asked me, please support this, Pauline. And I am. And it should come from community preservation. That's what this all was about in 2001.
Okay,
And I have nothing, there's nothing more I can say. There's a way we can do it. We don't need to do UDAG. We don't need to do free cash. We don't need to do any other funding sources, capital stabilization. There's $3+ million in our community preservation fund. Let's use it for what we voted it for.
okay, all right. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank
again,
you, Janice.
when, again, when you say the 3+, some of that 3 is in separate categories, so we need to look at that. Yes, Jess, I do see you with balloons.
I don't know where those balloons came from.
I don't know, but that was pretty impressive.
I didn't do anything. Just one point and one question, just to ask, following Pauline's point is, ask Robert, what's the select board's reasoning on not asking for the full amount from CPC?
Right.
And just the second point that I don't have to say anymore is, CPC can ask for a larger amount at town meeting and can go down from that.
Mhm.
But as we understand it, you can't ask for more at town meeting. You can't go up from what's being asked at town meeting.
So through the chair, Janet, to Jess's question, a couple of points. So the plan, so at the 700,000, the feeling from the board was to go to the CPC, looking at it as a partnership as 50-50. Now, of course, I will say that on behalf of the board, myself, it's up to, we would not object to more CPC funding for it, but that's your purview. The application was put at 350 and 350. The plan on the town side, which the select board will be discussing and voting on March 19th at their next meeting, is the $350,000 will not, the intent is for it to not come from free cash. It will not come from stabilization. What they are proposing is that either it would come from the Urban Development Action Grant that has a balance of about 2.7 million and would be subject to replenishment by town meeting, which they've done with other projects. And on the other side, the town still has about approximately 600,000 remaining in ARPA funds, which were American Rescue funds, which this would be eligible for. And the town has to contract and commit those funds by December 31st of this year. So the plan is, would it all come from, one option is it could all come from UDAG, subject to replenishment by future town meeting with free cash. B, it could come from ARPA, almost all of it from ARPA, or a portion of ARPA and a portion of UDAG. That's sort of the thought. Of course, if the CPC would be willing to consider additional funding, they would adjust that approach accordingly. And as Ms. Conley mentioned, but it's your purview, that the funding would be there for the whole thing. But that's up to the committee.
Agreed. Thank you, Robert. Jess, does that cover
Yep.
your okay? All right, Ken, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, you're not muted. How come I can't hear you? Nope, still can't hear you. Can anybody else hear Ken?
No,
No.
Oh, I saw him put his hand. Oh, you got it. You got to probably change your speaker to be another system or something, because it squeaked.
Yeah, Ken, check your microphone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, speaker, yeah, microphone. Oops. I gotta. You're gonna.
Can you write your question on a piece of paper and hold it up?
We can also give you the phone number for dial-in.
There's a chat. There's a
I think
chat.
he might have just done that.
You can punch it into the chat.
Yeah, he can punch it into the
Might
chat
be
too as
logging
well.
back in, yeah.
All right. All right, if that's
Why
the
don't you
case.
go to Pauline in the
Yeah, I
meantime?
know Pauline had her hand up and now it's down, but Pauline? While we're waiting for Ken?
No, Janet, now I forgot my question, and I'm
know.
very sorry, but I know it had something to do with what Robert said, and all I want is just reinforce, if there's a way CPC can fund this thing entirely,
Mhm.
which is what community preservation was about, let's do it, that's all.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, we hear you. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to get the, feedback from others. All right, Ken, you want to try it again? Testing 1, 2, 3. If not, you can put it in the chat and we can read it. If you feel like typing.
Right.
Oh, it's connecting to audio. Hold on.
A second, it says connecting to audio.
Yeah, I see that.
Now try it.
Take yourself off of mute.
How's that?
Yay!
Sorry about
There he
that.
is.
I had to reboot the whole thing, so I'm sorry about that. And thank you for your patience. So I had a couple of things. First of all, I want to dispute Pauline's concept of the CPC taking all the funds out, and I'll tell you where I'm coming from on that. I'd like to see the CPC use a minimum amount of funds because I think there may be some real open space that might be coming up in the future, more than about 3/4 of an acre or a half an acre that you're buying now, the rest being wetlands. So I would caution the CPC on how much money you dedicate to this little project in light of the fact that there may be some real land coming up in the future that might take some real money to buy in terms of maybe, 500,000 to $1 million or something like that.
Do remember that the conservation fund,
I agree, but we may need,
Yes.
I'm just cautioning that I'm taking a little bit different view than Pauline by saying,
Okay.
I don't think we should spend all the money now because there could be some real projects coming up that need real money. So that was one thing. I do appreciate Robert's attempt to evade the question of the appraisal, and it's been going on for a long time, but I would caution Robert that potentially just having an appraisal done might at least satisfy the question that comes up later at a town meeting. So the idea of getting an appraisal is simply a safety net for residents of the town. And even if it comes out to whatever the number is, at least you have an opportunity to say, look, we're willing to pay the difference between the appraisal and the asking price. But you've got an answer to the question. So I'm recommending that you get an appraisal. And I don't think this board should really let it go without an appraisal, but that's going to be up to you guys. I just think that's in the best interest of all the taxpayers to know clearly. Robert's been very clear about saying the price and how much the gentleman paid, and we're all going to guess that he's put, I don't know, $40,000 or $50,000 into engineering, the demo, whatever the case might be. So maybe he's got $370,000 into the project. Just again guessing. But I just think it's a safety net for all the taxpayers. It would be good to know that you're buying basically 2 lots and a bunch of wetland. It will never be built on. So I'm just trying to protect the interests of the rest of the taxpayers with a little bit better knowledge of what the markup really is from the buying, what we're paying and what a clear appraisal would come up with on the land. And I've talked to a few people about it, and I'm kind of expressing the opinion of some other people that I've talked to as well as myself. That was my second comment. Thank you. And lastly, this may not be my last one. I'll say one more comment was the purchase and sales agreement, which I read and I had commented on in a letter, includes language that says that the property will be turned over, loomed and seeded. So my question to Robert and to Dan is, are we going to be able to make sure that the pavement that's there now, which could be considered hazardous, it is hazardous, would be removed and from the site, and the site would then follow up with what's in the purchase and sale agreement? Or do you intend to keep the pavement that's there and contend with the cost of removing the pavement later as a town cost? I'm just trying to clarify that we're going to get in the purchase and sale what has been signed for in the purchase and sale. And therefore offset that's hazardous waste to get rid of. It can be reused, it can be chopped up and reused, but in our case, it would be a cost later on to remove it. So I'm anticipating that we're going to get the place lubed and seeded the way it says in the PNS. That's my question. Thank you.
Dan, did you want to go first on the paving piece?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, I'm not 100% sure exactly how the select board anticipated to be left. If we were going to have some paving and some lumen seeding, did you have some, better ideas there, Robert? I mean, it's kind of, we were just getting it cleared so that then the town can take that blank canvas and do what it wants, but.
No, we can definitely we'll need to look at that. That's a good point.
Yeah, because if they start doing any type of looming and seeding and everything else like that, but contaminants are found, then they're going to have to rip all that hazardous waste out, which I would believe from what the agreement is, the owner will pay for that cost of removing all that, so that we get clean land and then do the looming and the seeding after. Does that sound about right too, Ken, of what you're trying to get to?
What I'm trying to determine is whether with the PNS that was signed is what's going to actually happen, or whether there's going to be other changes that are potentially going to happen between now and then. I just feel uncomfortable leaving the paving because you just don't know with all the leaks and what happened over the years down there. The paving could be protecting another problem that's there. I just want to make sure that, I know we have to do a 21E, or some environmental research, but if they look at that and they just say the paving is there and it's going to stay, then they have no reason to write it up as a problem. I think it is a problem, potential problem. Okay, that's what I had on that. And I just want to remind everyone else, and I'm sure Ms. Gugino knows about it and others know about it, that the entire project is going to be within a buffer zone. Just about everything on the land is within a buffer zone from both sides of the street. So when and if any project is done on there, they'll have to go back to conservation. The town will be going back to conservation. And someone should anticipate that the future costs are going to require engineering unless all the engineering is done by our highly qualified staff at the town engineer's office. But there will be additional costs is what I'm getting at beyond acquiring that land. That I guess Robert will make people aware of. Thank you.
I'm gonna, agree with you on that, Ken, about being additional costs, because that was one of the things that I was concerned about with CPA funds, to be able to be sure that we can then build the park that we want to have there for the picnic tables, the trees and such. CPA funds would be able to be used for that. So, to go ahead, and I'm just going to put in, my concern of, funding the whole thing. We want to make sure that we do have additional funds for other opportunities that may arise for land, even though we do have the 500,000 in conservation fund that can help purchase land. If we do have an opportunity for something that's over $1 million worth of land, that will pay for half of it. So we're going to need the other monies from CPA. And then again, whatever type of construction that we want to happen on this parcel, should the town want to purchase it, can come just like a pocket park. it can come from CPA funds. So that would be, my 2 cents worth of, if we do fund it. How about anybody else from the committee of their thoughts on the funding price, the request price, increasing it, decreasing it, keeping it the same?
I strongly advocate that we do not increase the contribution from CPC because I also feel like the real highest and best use for open space dollars is related to protecting, the open space priorities. And I think that, there's a lot of other needs in addition to, some future potential scenarios for open space for other parks and recreation improvements throughout the town. And we look forward to more applications being able to utilize those funds.
Okay.
I was gonna say something very similar to Beth, though not as eloquently. I would not be super comfortable having us fund the entire thing. Again, thinking about upcoming projects and thinking about the potential use of funds down the road to, like you said, add park space to that. I'd rather see more money go into the development of the park and the use of the space than us spending all of the funds now. So I'd like to keep the funding amount the same.
Okay.
Just to add, I think there's something to also be said about advertising a public hearing with one amount and sticking to it.
Okay. Barry, Jess, Jason?
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just gonna say those sound reasonable points to me. So
Me as well. I don't see where I would be in favor of increasing the funds more than what it is right now. Because we're not, it's not like we're paying that price for the use of the full property. It's not.
No, you're right. It's not like it's going to be a complete open space. It's going to have municipal parking. Is that what you're going?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Jason?
I've got nothing to add. Everything has been said. I agree with all the points. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So with that, it looks as if, the application stands at the 350. And Pauline, just to let you know, I do understand where you're coming from. But I do hear the rest of the committee, with going on with, again, additional items that we do have for our funds. And I know that we do have, in undesignated, a little over $1 million that could be, but there are some other projects that we would be looking at. And to be able to use it to enhance that property would be good for possible next town meetings and such. So we do appreciate the feedback, and same thing with Ken. We do appreciate that feedback. I'm going to open it up to anybody else in the public. I see that we've got Sarah and Jeff as well.
Sarah with you. I just want to say I like the idea of the purchase. I like the idea of the blank canvas, and I thought the town manager's list of potential funding sources was good. If somebody, I did think if somebody could address some of Ken's issues, but that's my thought. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you. I'm just looking through, seeing if there's anybody else. All right, so Robert, you do have some homework to do, Robert and Dan, with regards to, would it be possible to get any type of appraisal beforehand?
So Madam Chair, a couple things. One is we're going to do the 21E, and let's start there with the environmental piece. And I appreciate the comments from Mr. Diskin about the pavement. So we'll speak with them about that. I will find out about an appraisal. Again, the issue, just to the record, is the appraisal, we already know before we spend $3,500 to $5,000 on an appraisal, we already know that the 700,000 is well above what the appraisal will be. It was paid 320,000 at a public auction. We know the property card and so forth. What we're paying for is, or what town meeting is being asked to pay for is the opportunity. That was, the price was much higher. The appraisal, if we had done the appraisal, even at that point as a negotiating tool, the negotiations, that was the number it was at. So I understand where Ken's coming from, and I intended all along at town meeting to have a full, presentation and specifically on the whole price piece. So we will look at getting an appraisal. However, the appraisal is not going to change the $700,000 price now. And I'll argue that the appraisal, having been part of the negotiations with the board, the appraisal would not have changed where we got at, but we will have that as a safety net.
Okay, I do appreciate that. All right, I think, I think we've pretty much discussed this all, and I'm just going to open it up to see whether or not I can have a motion to.
Well, I
Wanna
think
move- go ahead.
just in case Pauline has a point on something different, we should see what she has to say.
Oh, she's got her hand up again, I'm sorry. Pauline?
I'm trying to figure out how to get her out. Can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear you, and we can.
Oh, thank you, because I've been off and on and something happened in my video feed. I just wanted to be sure that you heard my support for the project to be fully funded by the Community Preservation Fund. Janet, you and I spoke about this early this morning, and I'll leave it at that. And I understand that you all are going to continue to look at it. But I did some research about undesignated funds. We have almost $3 million in our Community Preservation Fund. And I just want that out there for tonight's meeting, because I do believe we can fund the purchase of 71 Sandy Pond Road completely without affecting taxpayers, more than affecting the taxpayers. And I am going to encourage all of you to look into that, and I will be here to help you do that. So
Okay.
I just want to get that out there. Thank you, Janet. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And thank you, Jess.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is, I do want to bring this, I am sharing the screen. This is out on the Community Preservation page. This is as of February 7th. Again, these are our remaining balances. As Pauline said, community housing is a negative balance. And when we look at our reserve, we have almost, 1.3 million. This here, again, we don't, when you look at almost 3 million down here, it is assigned to different categories. And we do have to make an adjustment to make this a positive number, at least from positive, or at least a zero. And we will be almost adding 150,000 back with a warrant article, but then taking it out with the Habitat for Humanity. So pretty much this number stays the same. So with that, I want to make sure the public was aware when Pauline does talk about 3 million. It's really, we only have like about again, it's still a big number, the 1.3 million in reserve. However, if we do want to purchase any type of large parcel, it will be depleting most of the open space and possibly going into the budgetary reserve. And then we do want to use it for enhancing that area. Again, I want to make sure people are aware this is out on the CPC's page, so that you can go ahead and pull it up. And then if the town, I'm gonna stop sharing this. And then the other thing too, with Pauline's concern about taxpayer, if we do have the ability to request the ARPA funds, that is funds that will not affect, any type of taxpayer. Correct, Robert? And, it won't, it's just
Yeah.
funds that already came in from the federal government.
Correct.
Okay, so with that, we would entice the town to go that route before UDAG.
Yep.
All right, so I think that works out well. Anything else, Jess? I don't see anybody else's hand up. Okay, so.
My hand's not up. I'm leaning my head.
Oh. Okay, I know. All right, so with that, can I go ahead and see if we're going to get a motion to push this to town meeting?
I'll make a motion to advance this application to Springtown meeting for a vote with the amount of $350,000.
All
I'll
right,
second it.
I just made the motion and it sounded like Jason seconded it. I'm going to go through the roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
And Jason?
Yes.
Right, and the chair says aye, so as of right now, we'll go ahead and move it forward to town meeting, which will happen on April 22nd at 7 o'clock. And if there's no other discussion, I will go ahead and get a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right, just made the motion, seconded?
Seconded.
Julie seconded, all right, and we'll go through roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
Jason?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Everybody's moving? I think I got everybody. No, yeah, did I?
Julie.
Julie. All right,
Oh,
Julie.
it's just Julie.
All right, and then the chair says aye. So, okay, so the public hearing is now closed. Everybody, thank you so much for that feedback. Now we even have even a more fun part. So the public hearing has been closed. Next on the agenda, I really don't have anything for old business, but on new business, we've got the upcoming warrant articles. And I do apologize. I did not have a chance to get them out and about to you all because I received them, the updated one this afternoon, and forgive me, I was sleeping. So with that, let me just bring up the articles. Sorry, I know it's.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Here, again, it's. I'm just going to try to. Oh my God. All right. I'm going to try to share it so you guys can see it. I'm just going to move straight down. They're pretty straightforward. Well, sort of pretty straightforward. Last year, we went ahead and to give you an idea, hold on a second. I think I warned you all that we did not get as much from the state as we thought that we were going to be getting. Currently, we have from our 3% surcharge is, Jess, you got this number, $729,570.52. That's the commitment.
That's the state match?
No, this is from our 3% from
Okay.
from the town. Our state match is only $248,029. So the estimated revenue in total, as you can sort of tell from the numbers here, is $977,599
Mm-hmm.
and 52 cents. I'm sorry. So if we do what we did last year, where we asked for our administrative as being the 5%, that would give us a request of $48,880. Our 10% would be $97,760 for all three categories, leaving with the undesignated of $635,440. The town and town council have worked on these. Again, they're the draft. And I replied back to Robert, we don't need the due diligence anymore because of what we've done with administrative.
Right.
And we didn't have that. We removed it last year. So this reduces a warrant article, which works out really, like I say, works out really well.
There's bonus points for that.
That's good. At least I get a bonus point for something. So with that, what I did is, again, from that spreadsheet, you saw that we were approximately 360,000 in the hole for community housing. My question back to the committee is, do we want, well, hold on, I lost it again. Do we want to try to bump up this community housing amount and to bump it to reduce the amount and still have money for the 150, is almost 50% for community housing. So that we've got money in that bucket instead of 10%.
You'd want to put 50% in,
Mm-hmm.
but 150,000 is going back in from the housekeeping?
From the housekeeping, which is the Article 24 over on the right-hand side here. That's the
Right.
housekeeping one.
So
And
that would bring us, what are we at right now? What's our negative number right
hold
now?
on a second, hold on. Let me pull it back up again.
I-
360,324.
I don't understand why we are like, how we could have a negative number.
I think it's because the 400,000 for the 40B has not been expended. However, it is allocated to it.
But we should have never been able to
I
vote.
understand that. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it happened. And again, with new eyes looking at it and such, didn't realize that the projects exceeded the amount in that bucket. So, and I think again, it's because it hasn't all been expended. That 400,000 is still, is still a project that that is remaining until NOAA sends in a request. Monies aren't going to be coming out. So it's go ahead.
Yeah. Could we just have an article that says, just clarifies that it comes from undesignated?
Oh, we can do that too. That's what I'm saying. We can keep it at 10%, or we can then, make an adjustment in the adjustment one to say, and also to
Because
put in.
because it seems like there was an error somewhere that we should like correct, right? Like
Right.
we shouldn't have a negative balance.
No,
And
there should not be.
it seems like just saying, it's article, whatever, from annual town meeting of this year and date, we're clarifying that it's from undesignated, not from affordable housing or something like that. I don't know.
Well, what we could do is we could take undesignated and put it into community housing. Like we've done that in the past. So we could rewrite Article 23 that I crossed off. So instead of it being, for due diligence, it would be to offset a negative balance in the community housing.
That just confused me.
Because we should never have a negative balance.
Why did due diligence just get mentioned?
No. What I'm saying is I've removed due diligence
Right.
in an article. What I'm saying is we still keep in an Article 23, but instead of it being the due diligence one,
Oh, yeah.
we have it as being a adjustment so that it covers community housing. And I know we never should have had a negative balance, but I believe it's because of the 400,000 not being expended yet. And it should have been caught and it wasn't caught.
Well, instead of doing an Article 23, in the distributions for this year, couldn't we just bump up the community housing so that less goes into undesignated in Article 22, but we don't have to do an extra article to put money into undesignated and then another article, take it out and put it into community housing. Just do it in the one article.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do, like I say, the 50% for community housing in Article 22, or as Beth recommends, put in a separate article that says, okay, we need this additional funds coming out of undesignated and throw it into community housing.
What would 50% be?
50% would be 488,800.
And that's also then add on the 150,000 coming back in. So that would bring it up to.
But the 150 is going back out.
Right. Okay.
Okay. For habitat.
So that would then leave us with a balance that was, again, more like 120 or something $1,000 positive balance.
Correct.
Okay. That would be fine with me.
Yeah, that makes sense to me to do it that way.
Wait, what you sort of echoed there, Colleen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I agree. It makes sense to do it that way, to put 50% of this year's into community housing to build up, get rid of the negative balance, and seems less complicated when we bring it to town meeting to do it that way.
Correct. Barry, Jason, Julie?
Yeah, no, I agree. That makes sense. We shall be in the plus side of things.
Right.
Okay. Did we lose Julie? Oh, there she is.
No, I'm here. I'm following.
Okay. Do you think putting it inside the disbursement is better for being a 50% in there?
Yes.
All right. Beth, I'm coming back to you. I know it should
With
never
that simplified, yeah, I'm just trying to find the article for the 400,000 to see what the wording was on that, but it's all right. I mean, just keeping it simple. If council feels it's okay, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel strongly as long as what we're doing is all above board and vetted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and refer back to Robert. I know that I sent you the edited version. Just to go ahead and let me see if I must have that one too as well. What is your no, that's not it. What is your take on it, Robert?
On
of going ahead and disbursements?
Well, the CPC, you have the authority, subject to town meeting approval, to on these distribution amounts on Article 22. So if you wanted to correct that as has been proposed, you could do it with that article. And then on the explanatory note on the bottom, you could put an additional note explaining, what you're looking to do. And then, of course, all of these subject to town council, review and approval.
Okay. Correct. Yeah. All right. Right, that's probably, all right, so I'll go ahead and I'll work on the edit with you. I see Pauline, you've got your hand up?
Yes, I do, Janet, and thank you. After our conversation this morning, and I'm sorry for the background noise, because I'm sitting here with a flashlight and a piece of paper and an iPad. I went and pulled down the December update that we talked about early this morning, and I see a number of things and and then I went on the website and I found a couple of inaccuracies. So I'm not going to belabor this, but it seems like there is $900 to be closed out for the FY23 CPA 5-year plan. There's the $150,000 for the old firehouse, which we talked about this morning, and the additional $400,000 for the old firehouse, for a total of 190 being split between housing and historic. There is an additional almost 11,000 and change from open space and recreation to be closed out. I'm not sure where that was allocated. And I think there's an error on Article 29 from FY 2023 for the Flanagan Pond, which is recorded on the spreadsheet as $2,500, but the warrant article said $25,000. So I share that with you. I think there are other areas that need to be looked at in terms of budgetary reserve and undesignated funds. But I just want to throw those numbers out, and I'm happy to share them with you in a better format as I listen to your meeting. But I think I'm sorry to say it this way, and I don't mean anything by it. Other than we really need to make sure our numbers are correct. The Community Preservation Fund, because it stands to do so much good in our community.
No, I agree. And, with regards to the Flanagan bond, that's the beginning balance as of fiscal year 24. So yes, the warrant article, maybe what I'll do is make sure that the projects themselves have what the warrant article, stated right at the beginning. Okay, those are just a budget in column C. So with that, okay, no, I do hear you, and that's why, again, I've been working directly with Carrie to make sure that, we get this as streamlined as possible. So, all right.
Janet, I did find the article for Air Commons Affordable Housing Project, and it does clearly say from the Community Preservation Fund, community housing and undesignated reserve categories. So I really don't understand why whatever can't come from community housing, affordable housing doesn't just get pulled from unreserved, and why there would be a negative number. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of us are professional accountants. So.
All right. Okay, looks like we probably won't be able to, make hold on, I'm trying to see what what I've shared because I've opened up so many Word documents now. Forgive me.
Do you need us to vote tonight on these articles?
Well, either that or else we're gonna have to, I tell you what, let's go ahead and let me get them all cleaned up. And we're just gonna need to meet before the end of March.
Yeah, 'cause the warrant closes on March 29th.
29th, correct. So we can, you know, again, I don't want to push stuff that isn't. All right, let me say it this way. I'm trying to reduce this. I'm trying to see which one I have shared. Forgive me.
It's been a long meeting.
I know it
Yeah,
has.
I mean, we haven't received these in advance either. I
Okay.
would rather just have an extra meeting,
Okay.
if it's okay with folks.
Yeah, then we'll just have another meeting. Okay,
And
let's go.
that's fine by me as well. You know,
Okay,
to
because
get
it's been a
together
long
another
day.
time.
I appreciate that. Okay, so let me go ahead and redo that. When would people be able to make another meeting? Again, it has to be done before. I will be working with Robert on this, so can we try to do something on the 20th of March, that Wednesday night?
I have a zoning board meeting at 6. So
I
probably,
I am not available.
No. Okay. I'm just
I
throwing
don't
dates.
think ZBA is going to be meeting.
really?
I don't think they get any applications, but I could be
Right.
mistaken.
Okay.
Well, and Beth can't make it on the 20th.
How
I
about
got
the
a tough meeting on the
27th?
27th, I have I have a meeting.
Well, I'm
Doesn't
sorry,
have to be-
Robert, you said the article closes when?
The 29th.
We need it by the 29th.
Right, okay.
So anything like say possibly the 25th or 26th?
I'd be
Monday.
okay with either of those.
Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah.
I can
Monday.
make, go ahead.
Monday, the 25th is fine for me. The 26th is not.
Now, is that gonna be at 7 o'clock again?
If we could, I mean,
Yeah, like I've got here on the calendar, I have the planning boards at 6:15 on Tuesday, the 26th.
That's what I was just coming to say is
Oh, sorry.
that's a planning, that's okay. I would prefer one of the Thursday nights, but I will make the Monday happen if needed.
all right, so it looks like everybody can make the 25th?
I can make it work.
Yeah, I got a Board of Health at 5:30, but that's not usually a long meeting.
Correct.
On the 25th.
All right, so I will have these all completed and sent to you before the 25th.
Sounds good.
All right? Okay. All right, long meeting. Let's go ahead. Public participation. I think we've had the public speak. All right, and I'm not gonna, we'll worry about committee reports unless there's something vital that people want to bring up. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
No? Okay. All right, then, again, I do appreciate everybody's patience. With that, let's go ahead and, can I hear a motion? Hold on a second. I got something for a chat. Oh. All right, that'd be better. Thank you, Robert. Okay, so let me have a motion to adjourn.
Make a
So
motion.
Okay, that was Beth made the motion to adjourn. Who seconded? Barry?
I'll second.
Okay, sounds good. And I think we don't have to do roll call. Everybody just say aye.
All right.
Aye, you got it. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. Really do
Good
appreciate
night,
it.
everybody. Good seeing you all.